Welcome back to the 36th part in this Python series on the Django web framework, and in this one I thought we'd talk a bit about static files in Django and how you can handle them. So what I want to do is put a profile picture on the profile page and have that sort of, displaying through the template and stored in a model. So the model I want to store it in is called the user profile model, which we used in previous videos to sort of store some data about the user. And we presented that data on the profile page where I also want the image to be. So this is the page, as you can see, and I'm just going to go to the models first. So in the accounts app I'm going to go to models.py, and I'm just going to add another field here, and I'm going to call it images, or image, and it's going to be equal to a models.image field. So similar to a file field, if you're familiar with that tool. And I'm going to say upload to. So unlike other fields, the upload to parameter is specific to file fields and image fields. And the reason for that is because static files are so large, they tend not to work very well in conjunction with the database, because it can just slow the database down. It makes the database very large very quickly when you have a lot of static files, like images and especially videos. So they tend to be stored on disk, just in a normal sort of folder and file structure. So I'm going to say this is, say, a profile image, and so that's going to be the name of the folder that it's stored in. And I'm also going to add a not default, but I want to specify that it's optional pretty much, so they can choose whether they want to put an image or not. So I'm going to say blank is equal to true. So that means it can be blank if they want it to. So blank. So now, because I made a change to the model, we should be able to see if we try to go to the Django admin, I might have to log in again here. So I'll log in as a super user. But if we go to that in the Django admin, user profiles, you can see it doesn't work. So we get no such column, accounts user profile dot image, and it's complaining at the image field that we just added. So you might be confused and think, sort of, why does this not work? But remember, every time we make a change to the model itself, we have to make migrations so that it's sort of a low level form of the model itself, so that Python can generate the SQL more easily. And then we actually have to apply that migration to the database itself. So it's a two-step process. So let's go and do that now, so that we can add that image field into the database. So python manage.py, and then it's just make migrations. So now you can see add field image to user profile model, which is this one, which is great because that's what we intended. That's the model we want to add the image to. And I want to say, now that we've done that, I want to manage.py migrate. So that's just going to apply that to the actual database. But before I do that, you can actually see in a migration, so this green file here is new. It's what the make migrations command has just added. And you can see, if you haven't seen a migration before, this is sort of what it looks like. And it's just saying migrations add a field, and it's going to be an image field to the user profile model, and it's just called an image, and it's going to upload to this. So it's pretty much what we just added in the model, but with a little bit more detail as to sort of the migration and the app that it relates to and all this sort of stuff, which is handy for the database itself when we come and do python manage.py migrate, and then we actually apply it to the database. So that's it, that's all it takes now. So now we go and refresh. Now it doesn't work because we haven't restarted our development server, which always helps. Run server and refresh again. So now we've got that. So if we click on one, you can see we've got an image field. So this is what it looks like, and it automatically sort of gives us an upload option. And the reason it's grayed out is because we put that blank equals true. So it pretty much means, these big bold black ones, they're just mandatory fields, I think, and this grey one is just optional. That's all it means. So I just added a little JPEG image with the button just there. Now I'm going to save that, and now we want to try to display that in the template, because now we stored it in the model and it's stored somewhere. We don't know where exactly necessarily, because we haven't defined that in our settings yet. So it actually defaults just to our project directory called profile image. So actually I don't think that's very good. I think we should really change that, because we want a folder to contain all our static content, and specifically the ones that were uploaded by a user. So I'm going to do that in the settings.py, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say not only the static URL, but I'm also going to say media root. In fact, let's do media URL first, is equal to media. Now, if you're unaware at all of how you handle static files in Django, or media and stuff like that, it's a really good resource on the Django documentation. So I use it quite a lot to refer to things, and this is going to be something we're using in this video. But I should point out that this sort of video is only for development purposes. So if you want to know about sort of how you deploy sort of static files in production and the various ways you can go about doing that, then they've also got documentation on that. So if you want to do that sort of stuff, I recommend you read this. They've even got sort of fabric stuff in here, which is a really powerful sort of deployment tool. If you want to see a tutorial on that, just leave a comment below. But this is just for development at the moment. So this is sort of what I'm going to be implementing here, the serving static files uploaded by a user during development. Of course, they've also got static files during development, so not uploaded by a user, and various other stuff. But this is going to be enough to get our profile picture working, hopefully. So we've got the media URL, so it said if your media URL is defined as media, you can do this in the URLs. So we're going to do that. So I'm just going to add that to the URLs. And I'm just going to copy and paste these import statements as well, because they are necessary to make it work. So now that I've got that, I also want to finish the settings, because we missed one out. So I don't know if it will highlight it here, but if we just carry on like this, we won't have specified the actual folder itself that we want the media to go into. This is just saying we want in the URL bar, or the address bar, that it's going to be /media, from which you're serving the rest of the static files. So it's going to be /media/ the name specified in the model for the upload folder / the name of the image. But now I'm going to add where we want to put them. So that's just called media root. Media root. And I'm going to set that equal to os.path.join, and I've got the base directory. I think this is default in the settings, but what I'm referring to here is at the very top we've got base directory. So that's pretty much referring to our top level project folder, so it's called tutorial, so it's right at the top here. So that's the one we're referring to. But what I want to do is put it inside this tutorial folder, inside a media folder inside that. So I'm going to create another couple of folders inside there. So os.path.join base-dir, and then onto that I'm going to join tutorial, and then /media. So this should create a folder inside of this tutorial folder called media, and then it should put all of the media uploaded by a user during development into that folder. So this isn't something you want to do in production, but there's various ways of doing static files in production, and that's a whole nother topic. So for now this should work. So the only other thing we haven't done is added it to our templates so that it'll display in the sort of profile page. So I'm going to just add a quick image in profile.html, which is of course the one that powers the profile page that you saw earlier. And now that we've added it to the model, it's really easy to be able to get the URL, because Django does some magic and it's really nice. So I'm going to say user.userprofile.image. Now .image is just the actual image that we stored in the database, or a reference to it. So that's not the actual URL which it sort of corresponds to, or is being served at, if you like. So what Django does is it automatically gives us .url. which should accomplish what we want to do, and should automatically link to the image itself, which is really handy. So at the moment that would be really big, so I'm just going to say I'm going to give it a bit of a constraint of width of 240. It would probably be big enough to see, but not like outrageously large, because I think it was quite a large image I uploaded. So I think we should be able to test this now. The reason profile image was created was because we uploaded an image, but we hadn't specified the media root. So because we hadn't done that, it just created it in a default location in the project directory. But hopefully what we should see now is a media folder inside another folder. So let's go and have a look at the Django admin, because we have to re-upload that image to make sure it goes into the right location this time. So let's do test 3. So I just chose the same image. I'm going to save that. And now if we... so we should be on the right account, are we? No, refresh. So log out of that. I'm going to log back into test 3, because we had to log into the other account to be able to access the admin. So now we're in test 3. We click on profile. We should see that image is pulling through. Not only that, it's rendering in the template, and it's being served. So we can see here, if we look at Chrome, so there's a specific URL that just handles that particular image. And you can see it's /media / the name of the folder in the models / the name of the actual image itself. So media, just to clarify, comes from media URL, not media root. So the media root is just the location where the files are stored on the disk, and media URL is the actual section of the URL, that whatever you want to call it. So profile image is in the models.py, so that's where we said to upload to, and then max is just happens to be the name of the file. That's what I called it before I uploaded it. So that's a little explanation on sort of static files and loading in a profile page. In the next one we're going to talk about customizing the Django admin.